What's up, guys? It's Vance here. I'm in the Meraki fulfillment headquarters with my best friend, Michael Sheedy from sixth grade. I think we're coming up on 20 years of friendship. There's no better person to interview me on how I started Meraki, my founder story, and how we gained as much success as we did in a short amount of time than my best friend from sixth grade who's seen me come up, seen the struggles, and knows me on a deeper level than most. So here's Michael Sheedy. He's going to intro himself a little bit, and then we'll get right into it.
Yeah, bro. Appreciate the intro. Happy to be here. It's been awesome to see your success and everything you've accomplished over the years. You know, watching you go from, struggling just to make ends meet as a fighter, training nonstop, in construction, getting your hands dirty to now seeing what you built. It's just a testament to your character and your work ethic. I don't want to talk about myself because this is about you. So we're just going to get straight into it.
Michael is the top fitness trainer in Las Vegas, by the way. So we need a study on what being a delinquent skateboarder and getting into successful entrepreneurship is. There's some correlation because all of our friends who skateboarded in middle school and high school ended up being successful. So there's something there.
Yeah, most likely. But anyway, so when did you become business minded?
My first breakthrough come to Jesus moment was I was sitting in Australia. I was in Alex Volkanovski's first champ camp against Max Holloway. We were about 2 weeks into the camp, and I asked him, I said, Alex, what are you getting paid for this fight? And he told me, and I fucking lost my mind because I was taking a month off of work at the time in order to be out there. I was away from my family, my girlfriend at the time, my animals, etc. I was putting myself a little bit into debt when I was actually out there. And when I figured out like what the end goal was, like, hey, if you train really hard for 15 years and you do win the fights and everything aligns up and you're going for a title, this is what you will get paid. And in that case, that's where I kind of like had this existential crisis moment. Like, wait, I thought I was going to have glory and fame and money and freedom. And the biggest thing was the financial freedom. I was like, I'm not even going to be able to afford like a nice car, let alone a house at this rate. So it blew my mind. And then I had my second epiphany where I went, wait, Sean O'Malley drives a Lamborghini. He's not even in the top 15. What's going on? And that's when I realized what was happening. That's when I realized it was a business. It wasn't just sporting. It wasn't for glory. It was actually a whole entire brand recognition platform that you are associating your own brand with. And then that's how you can leverage the UFC in order to generate income. It was this whole thing. And that's what started me down the business train.
What year was that?
That was 2020.
Okay. So that was 5 years ago.
2019.
I resonate with that as well because I've competed in 11 bodybuilding competitions.
Yep.
And I use that because I was like, cool, I see these guys at the top. They're all doing bodybuilding. You make no money in bodybuilding, right? It's the brands that are created with it that you actually start making money from. So I resonate 100% with that. Tell me how, and I know the story, but how did Meraki come about?
Yep. So I did what I always do. Back then I would always do extra work, extra credit. So I watched a lot of fight studies. I watched a lot of not just fight studies, but got into nutrition and nutrition for performance specifically because there were two pain points I had. One was making weight and the other one was being natural in a sport ridden with steroids. So my two pain points were, how do I increase my athletic performance as much as possible naturally? How do I get every single edge? And how do I make cutting weight easier so I could perform better? So I would stay up late at night in research, and slowly in my research and my fight studies started to actually come in with business. And so I found Alex Hormozi was one of the easiest people to listen to back then. And so I started to just before it was like 10% of my time, then it ended up being like 50%. Sometimes I caught myself at like most weekends, like 60% of my research would be learning business from people like Alex Hormozi. And that's when I really noticed.
This is in 2020.
This is like 2020 going into 2022. And at the beginning of 2022, I decided, because I was working construction full-time and fighting and supporting a household and $35,000 in debt, I need to start a side hustle that would have an open lever where I didn't have to trade time for money. And that was going to be supplements because I was passionate about it. I was passionate about really esoteric supplements and natural products that could help improve your athletic performance. And so I started Meraki in the beginning of 2022. And the name actually came from a Instagram post. I was Googling captions for Instagram and words, and I came across the word Meraki. And it was a Greek word, and it said, leaving part of your soul in your craft or having something, a greater purpose bigger than yourself. And that's what fighting was, because I got no return on it. And I literally poured my soul into it. It was, my heart was in it. And I just it's a part of me, but it was like I was leaving part of myself in fighting for fighting. I was like, this word works perfectly because I used it in the caption And I made Meraki Medicinal out of that. And we were going to be a pre-workout company.
Right. Yeah. So as far as Meraki, the story you've told a bunch of times, but
Yeah.
I want you to tell it live.
Exactly.
Fighting is actually what got you to the point where you created Meraki. So it was the butterfly effect of chasing your dreams, which led you to the next thing that you're doing now, which is having massive impact.
Yep, exactly. So I started Meraki as an esoteric pre-workout company, and I formulated the best pre-workout ever. And it was like no natural flavors, no BS, no artificial preservatives, no sodium benzoate, no DNA damaging particles in it, etc. And it was a ready to drink with actual citric acid, not black mold citric acid, but actual citrus derived citric acid, like just crazy stuff, right? And I was getting ready for a fight, and I was formulating this thing, and I took a loan out. So I was actually $47,000 in debt when I started this, because I had to take a loan out in order to pay for my first batch of pre-workout. And
I remember that.
Yeah. And so you were with me. We went to Montana. I fought a guy who was enhanced. He was not natural like me. I was winning the easiest fight of my MMA career, and I got shattered. I got one-shotted. My face split 3 ways. Fat from my eye fell. My orbital just went to the floor. And I curled, and I was literally already done there. And then he racked off another 30 shots. So I got the worst concussion of my life. And it was the most beautiful thing ever. It was the biggest bow backwards, and then it being shot forward into where I'm at today. It was the best thing ever. It was literally like, I don't want to believe in like destiny and all that, but like it was meant to be. I needed it. And that is where I discovered our first flagship product, which was methylene blue.
Yeah. That was wild to watch, bro. Like I remember being at that fight, and you were so dialed. Like I remember seeing the look in your eyes before that fight.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, he is sharp. You know, I really had no doubt that you were going to absolutely demolish your opponent.
And it looked good, right? All the way till it didn't.
It looked incredible. And there was a moment in the fight, and I don't know if anybody knows this. There was a moment in the fight where you pulled back when you were about to kick him in the face while he was on the ground.
Yeah.
And you missed by 2 inches. If you would have kicked him in the face, Meraki Medicinal would have never started, and we wouldn't even be sitting here today. Gives me chills even saying it out loud.
I got some belief in myself. We wouldn't be where we're at, but I would have the best pre-workout company.
We would have been the best pre-workout company, but you wouldn't have researched so heavily into methylene blue.
Correct.
But you missed kicking him in the face while he was on the ground.
Yeah.
And the next exchange, we know what happened. You got your face shattered.
Yeah.
You went to the ground. You took a massive shots to the head, traumatic brain injury.
Yeah.
You get home. You're researching the hell out of methylene blue because you're autistic, and you're trying to figure out the best way forward. And then from that, you find methylene blue, which is the product now that you've based, the Meraki Medicinal off of. Now there's more products, as well. Which has gotten you where you are today.
Yeah, exactly. And it's crazy, that butterfly effect. Like everything wrong that ever happened in my life, about 5-10 years later, maybe even a year later, I realized like, whoa, that like literally happened for a reason. It's crazy. Like I joke, I don't joke. Actually, I say it all the time, but I say it facetiously sometimes, but I'm guided. And I truly believe it. God's plan. God is great. Like I am guided by forces you cannot particularly comprehend. Okay. And I say it a lot joking, but man, is it true? And so
you ask for strength, God is going to give you a battle.
Exactly. And so this is where my mind started to turn, and this is where I started to learn about business. And this isn't just more of my story. It's the lessons I learned that people can use in their everyday. And so one of those lessons was attention. I learned that attention was currency. And when you can garner attention, you can garner currency. And so what had happened is I came home, found methylene blue, used it, had great success with it. And what I noticed was every time I post my pre-workout on my story, 1, 2, 3 likes. Every time I post methylene blue on my story, 10, 15 likes, 3 DMs. What is this? There was intrigue. There were questions. People wanted to know. I had attention off the methylene blue. And I remember the one day I was sitting in my backyard and I was like, post my pre-workout, post my veins before and after taking it. Just like the best before and after picture ever, like getting people hyped up for it. I was doing tease, whisper, shout from Alex Hermosi and like starting to whisper about this pre-workout product that was coming. And not that much engagement. And then I'd post blue shit in water and people would go nuts. And I was like, why don't I sell this? And I went down this laundry list of reasons why you probably shouldn't sell methylene blue. And I eventually talked myself out of it because it is not a smart product to sell in the beginning. Now it's a lot easier. It's a lot better. But back then it was scary. First page of Google did not have all the benefits that we know now. And there was a lot of regulation issues with something that they can reverse cyanide poisoning with. And that's our modern day treatment for it. So I made the gut decision not to do it. And this is where the second lesson I learned of business was. I was sitting up one night reading Amazon reviews on methylene blue. And I read a very moving review where it struck me emotionally, hit me in the gut, and it related to people in my family dealing with battles like disease and someone maybe or maybe not using methylene blue in that battle and winning and getting their life back. And I said, fuck profits, let's go for purpose. If you put purpose before profits, I swear, if you give more than you get, I swear on my life, it'll work out. And I said, let's do this. So there's like step one, hero mission. I order everything. I bottle it myself. I make a clean room. I get it third-party tested. I do everything right. And this is my third lesson of business, which is my buddy told me when I asked him for advice. I said, hey, can you give me some help on business? He said, cool thing is, ask for advice, you'll get money. Ask for money, you'll get advice. He goes, but I'm going to give you some advice, not money right now. And he said, just do everything right. Just do it right. Like, trust me, just do it right from the start. And I took his advice. So we did everything right from the beginning. And that was my start to Meraki, and we started to sell it. And that's when everything began. And man, like you're talking about a construction worker with no business knowledge, no experience. And I'm getting going on Twitter of all places, and I'm posting about my product, and I learned everything the hard way. Amazingly so, but yes.
Yeah. So I want to ask you some questions about like some lessons and values and things like that. But before we get into that, I want to talk a little bit about attention and marketing, because you had mentioned that.
Yep.
And you mentioned Twitter. Of course, I remember when you started on Twitter, you're like, bro, Twitter is the platform. You need to get on it. It's X now. But I was like, like I didn't understand it. But you nailed copy. Like you really started to understand how to utilize copy to garnish attention and Twitter and the algorithm. And that's like a lot of people, like when I talk about you, they're like, he grew his company organically to what? Like they don't understand how much organic attention is possible and valuable.
Correct. And so this is where you'll learn in business, like when you need to generate attention, where to go. So most people don't know this. If you're starting any health or wellness brand, even a clothing brand, Twitter is one of the best places, especially for someone like me where my face is a little crooked. I'm not the prettiest, but I'm really good at kind of intellectualizing my ideas down in written format. But Twitter is great because Instagram is a billboard. You're swiping. It's like driving down the freeway seeing billboards. I only have so many seconds of attention there. And where Twitter is like a coffee shop. It's like people go down, they sit down, they have intellectual conversations. So you can really get true fans on Twitter. Nobody knows about it on Twitter, but you should be on Twitter if you're starting a brand for this reason. It's niche. And yes, it's like 20,000 followers on Twitter though. Harder to get, but it's equivalent to 200,000 followers on Instagram. And most people don't know this. I did my first $1 million in revenue organically on Twitter before I even had 10,000 followers.
See, that's the shit that people need to hear, because everybody's like, jump into paid ads for products and services. There's nothing wrong with that, but you can't nail down your messaging and your systems.
Yep.
You don't have the capacity to be able to take on
exactly
new customers.
Yeah, and I couldn't afford paid ads. I couldn't afford product. I couldn't afford anything. So I bootstrapped everything. So you have to nail organic.
With purpose.
Yeah.
With passion.
Correct.
With an origin story.
Correct.
With conviction.
Yeah, and there's no excuses. Like me, I didn't do well speaking. I've come so far and so long, and methylene blue improves in intellectual, articulation. So
yeah.
No, I'm just playing. But what I'm getting at is I found my strengths, and my strengths were actually typing copy, doing deep research, and extrapolate that research and make it comprehensible for people to read, possibly in written format. And it was much easier for me to do, deep topics. Like I can't explain to you like the intricacies of enzymatic function methylation over video, but I can in writing, and people sit down who want to read it, will read it. And those are your people who will buy from you.
So it's a different audience on Twitter.
Yep.
But it was the people that were interested in methylene blue, it sounds like.
Yep.
And now you've reached a broader audience.
Exactly. And the other thing is audience, right? I'm on Twitter with 300 followers. No one's following me. But what I did is I interacted with bigger accounts. So I had my first guy who ever posted us was Soulbra. It was amazing. He just was like, you're a great guy. I like what you're doing. I was always on his stuff. I was not helping him. I wasn't doing anything, but I was supporting him. And he supported me one day, and he made a post, and we had like a $10,000 day in sales. I remember getting on the phone talking to like my ex at the time. I was just like, I was in California. I was like, we need to make boxes. Like, can you make boxes? I got to come home early. We got to fulfill orders. It was insane because we were doing everything by hand. And so, once I realized that, then we started affiliate marketing. And that's when we garnered all of our affiliates, and we started growing that way. The second person was Noah Ryan, and he ripped like 30K a day. by posting my tallow bomb. And that's when we ran into our first problems in business because the volume and like everything. It was amazing. But I learned that you can find an audience somewhere. It could be Instagram, but a lot of people did mommy blogs. A lot of people do Reddit. There's so many little like you just need a crumb of the pie. You don't
Where's
need
your
a
audience?
slice.
Yeah, where's your audience? You got to
Exactly.
find where your audience and the eyes are, and then you got to put yourself in front of them.
The only thing I'll say is test, don't guess, you know, and try hard and solve it with violence. But once you find a lever that's working, you should not be in multiple sales channels until you're doing like $1 million a month in one. Like that should be your goal. If you're making $1 million a month on Twitter, move over after. Now Twitter's harder, but like if you're doing Meta and you're doing paid ads, you better nail $1 million a month in revenue profitably before you move anywhere else, because you will get the woman in the red dress syndrome where you'll see something shiny and you'll be like, oh, well, I could go 0 to 1 over there and start there and it'll be just like this. But that's where you fall off and you get distracted. And then you have 2 mediocre sales channels instead of one lever that you pull and you print on.
Yeah. I want to learn a little bit more about your philosophies. What advice would you give to your younger self?
Dude, you know, it's one of those hard ones, but I listened to this from this guy, Jason Spain. He owns MCore. And when I would sit there and talk to him, I would ask him business questions. He was like, listen, stop overthinking it. Like, we like to fuck around and find out. So there's 2 options. You assess for a little bit and then you go. Pick one and go. And so I really did that in business. Speed is a skill in business. You'll hear it from everyone. You'll hear it from the greats. Speed, 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 speed. It's you going from 0 to 1 as fast as you can. It's like a plane. You cannot take off going slow. You cannot fumble around. Okay, I'll start my Instagram. Okay, I made a post this week. No. It has to be a violent explosion for you to get enough traction to take off on that runway. And it all comes from action. Speed, speed, speed. So I really don't have any other advice. I mean, get a fucking trademark. Like, you know, in the beginning, like there's like some like little like obviously niche things for me, but I'm trying to think of some like an audience who to help. And when I'm just saying in general is like speed is the best thing ever. So I don't need advice for myself the way I did it. I love, but speed, speed, speed. Nobody will help you from 0 to 1. And I'm telling you right now, you didn't try methylene blue for a fucking year, you asshole. You piece of shit asshole. Your best friend starts coming. You didn't even support it.
Yeah.
But
I did support it.
whatever. But what I'm getting at, and it's okay, is stop complaining that you're not getting support. You're not going to get help 0 to 1, but you will get so much help from 1 to 1 million. And my point comes back. Nobody helped me 0 to 1. I started, but then Soul Bra got me from 1 to 2. Noah got me from 2 to 3, 3 to 4. It just happens. And before you know it, you will have a team around you. And these people, I made my friends for a reason, like because they helped me so much. And of course I meant that, like I need to be around them and give back. But like so many people are just willing to help you once you get started. And now I'm in that position.
You have to show that action first.
Everyone's asking me for help. Go fucking figure it out. I'm sorry. I love you. I cannot help you 0 to 1. If I help you 0 to 1, you'll never get to 2. You need to do that. And so nobody bought from me. My friends, you know, I had some cool and thankful for them, cool friends. But I remember I'm not a powder and I'm not a complainer in philosophy there. And I remember I just wish somebody would tell me like, no one's going to buy from you, your friends, but you need to learn how to sell to strangers anyways. What does it matter if your friends support your business? That's not going to get you from 1 to 2. You need to learn how to sell to strangers. And that's the biggest thing.
I wasn't that I didn't want to support you. I was scared of picking. wasn't scared. I was just skeptical because I'm like, bro, this is why methylene blue is incredible, because there's skeptics out there. But then when I took it, I remember it was like 9 or 10 months, legitimately, after you had formulated it. It was about 9 months. Give me some credit here. I started taking it, and bro, like I remember just feeling like my brain wake up, and literally I feel like my IQ raised by 10 points and I could articulate myself much better after 3 months of taking it. I promise you. Like that's a genuine story. And it's also because I boxed for 5 years before that. And I do feel like I had potentially a couple brain cells.
You played football too.
A little bit of oxygen in them. And anyway, so fully support. So what's maybe cliche, but like what's your favorite quote or motto that you use the best?
I already have it. You didn't ask me this before, but I love this quote so much. Do not sprint towards a goal, march to greatness. And I said this the other day to someone. I said, hey, good can happen fast, but great takes time. And it's like every day, it's like, yeah, you'll have your sprints, and there's years that feel like weeks, and there's weeks that feel like years in growth, you know? And it's like, man, I'm just dropping.
That's profound.
These are profound, but I heard that one. But what I'm trying to get at is the steady march to greatness will always beat the sprint to a goal. You know, it's like, so think 10 times bigger than whatever you're doing. I did this recently, and I'll explain the story. think 10x of whatever you're thinking and just march towards that daily and forget about the little wins, celebrate the little wins, but forget about the little milestones. You know what I mean? Just keep going. If I would have just, I made my first million, we celebrated, but if I would have stopped there, I wouldn't have gotten to 5. If I would have celebrated 5, I wouldn't have got 10. 10 was cool, but you also get numb to it because you live by that motto. And when you live by that motto, it's like, there's no reason when we hit 100 million, like I won't be just like exactly the same, like, okay, let's do 500 or let's do this or let's do that, etc. So don't sprint towards a goal, march to greatness.
Yeah, I love that, dude. Who do you look up to?
Alex Hormozi is a big one. I'm not going to lie. I don't look up to many people, and a lot of them are usually fighters and like almost like mythological people, but not mythological, but fiction.
Anime characters.
Yeah, All Might. No. So Alex Hormozi is one because he did everything the hard way and he takes pride in the boring work. And I did that with fighting. I spent 10 years in a gym, and guess what? After year 3 and year 4, it's not as fun. You're strapping yourself in plastic. You're going to a gym with other grown men, professional athletes who are trying to hurt you every single day. It gets boring. And I love it, but no matter what you do, you'll go through that valley of despair. And his rise up through business, I relate to a lot with my rise up in fighting. And luckily, I didn't have the 10-year fucking plan where I was like, all right, it's going to take 10 years to blow up. We blew up within 6 months, but I was ready for 10 years of struggle with Meraki before I got any reward. I literally in my head was thinking, man, one day, 5 years from now, maybe I'll be able to quit my job. Not 5 months, it's crazy.
Meteoric, you can say it.
But you had a fast rise, I feel like.
Correct.
And I need some methylene blue right now.
Yeah, I know. I'm also, I got staph right now, and I am just lost 6 pounds, so we're down bad. But with that being said, we are mitochondriacs, right? Mitochondrial supremacy. We're already better than the 99%.
100%. What are 3 of your top values that are important to you?
Dude, not to get too personal with it, but a big one is how you treat your circle, and that does involve your partner. I take pride in like all my business partners and all my friends are not dickheads with their women and dickheads with their friends. No one's snarky. No one's like talking shit behind each other's back. Like, and yes, like the long picture, my life has gotten better from my friends, but my life has gotten harder from those around me. Me and you grill each other so fucking bad. I mean, I just did like 10 minutes before. You were getting pissed. You told me shut the fuck up right before we started this podcast.
Yeah, you can handle it.
I was going in on you, but it's like Noah as well as like that guy, Noah Ryan, like, dude, he challenges me so much on my values, my morals, my intellectual capacity, like my decisions, my short-term dopamine decisions versus long-term strategy for success. And I'm so grateful. Eric as well. Like I have I judge people on that value of how they treat their friends, their close ones, and how they treat their significant other and their family. And that's a big thing for me. So there's like the main value right there. And the other thing I'll judge someone, especially men, on is their work ethic. So if you work hard and you take care of your people around you, then 100% I'm probably going to be very want to be close to you. I'm going to want to do things for you because I can't stand someone who's fucking lazy and I can't stand someone who's a snake, especially I know it's like guys are guys, whatever. I don't care. Like no excuse. If you're cheating on your wife, I'm not going to trust you. If you're going to lie to the person that you have those intimate moments that I can't give you with, you're going to lie to me. It's bottom line. Okay. And that's not like bullshit. Like it's the truth. And like, I don't tolerate that around me. I understand it, but I don't like it. But the other thing is I'm not like trying to sound white knight. I'm not giving you logical, justifiable reasons why you might not want someone around you like that, is what I'm saying. The other thing, because I'll piss a woman off. I'm good at that. Okay. I'm not perfect. So I'm not a good catch.
You'll have integrity.
Yeah. What I'm just trying to get at is the integrity. And the last thing I would say is, and this is a little more deeper, but it's true, is you'll meet human beings trying to have spiritual experiences and you'll meet spiritual beings having human experiences. And there's people like that, like my guy Tuco right here, who is you meet and you align immediately because they understand that we're here to be humans and live this life. And but they have that connection to source, and that always puts the integrity, the values, the moral compass back in check every single time, because they're not willing to sell their soul for anything monetary or anything worldly. They're willing to go through shit with someone for the bigger things that matter. And it's like kind of that soul connection things, So like the devout Christians, the hardcore Muslims, anything like that, like those spiritual beings who are having human experiences, And that's what I really like those 3 things right there is like work ethic, how you treat your circle, and your connection to source. And it doesn't have to be one way or another. I prefer Christianity myself, but like, as long as you have a connection, a purpose bigger than yourself, that's what Meraki means, right? Leaving part of yourself in something that's bigger than yourself. And so those are my 3 things.
Love it, dude.
I think I'm 0 for 10 on jokes today, but I think I'm dropping.
That's all right, bro. No, I think we got a lot of gems in value. What's the biggest mistake that you've made
in business, financially, or just overall?
Overall,
business. I learned it this year, so I think it was like 2022. I had this existential crisis where I was like, stop being a tugboat, be a lighthouse. Stop pulling people, just be them and let them see you and win, and then let them win, you know? And then lately it's been, I've been giving too much to people who don't deserve it. And so it's going deaf. I think before I was not as deaf as I am now, and it was a big mistake because I allow a lot of people around me who weren't as maybe as value or morally aligned as me. And when you go deaf and you look at actions, that's where you catch the bullshit. So I've been too giving to too many people for too long who did not deserve it. And I've been used in that way. And it's okay. It taught me more about them than myself, or more about myself than them. And it helped me become a better person. But the biggest mistake was, kind of the circle, I think. The biggest business mistakes I've had are just profound. But every single one of them was necessary. But yeah, so.
Awesome, dude. Bro, that's all I got.
Yeah.
On my end. I think that was solid.
Yeah, I think we're good on that. That's my story. That's where we're at. I have big goals coming up. I started 3 other companies. And once you go 0 to 1 once and you do it right, going 0 to 1 again becomes easier and easier and easier. So the biggest thing is when you're in the ice bath and you know you're going to get the benefits from the ice bath, no matter what you tell yourself before that ice bath, it gets cold. And so when it does get hard and you're in it and you're cold and you're shivering and the little voice in your head's telling you to quit, just remember, just keep going. Literally march to greatness. It could take 10 years, but I've seen so many people on Twitter that I started out slow with and I blew up quick, but now they're catching strides because the ones who didn't quit are all there. And now we're at the same table and we're having conversations. I'm like, dude, your business is taking off and your personal brand's taking off. And I'm like, yo, you didn't quit. And I saw the ones who quit, and where are they at now? They're nowhere. And I'm like, dude, come on. So it's been so cool to I kind of came up on Twitter at the same time a lot of new people were coming in, and the ones who stuck with it, we all just stayed in and won. And so that's my biggest thing out of anything is that quote I said is just stay in the fight. You're not out of the fight until death. All defeat is psychological. Keep going.
Yeah. No, I love that, dude. It's like professional athletes, right? It's not like they've never lost a game. Michael Jordan, it's not like he never missed a shot.
Yeah.
He was persistent in his actions, regardless, chasing greatness.
Exactly.
And that's what made him successful. And sounds like, a big part of your journey as well as your persistence. So.
What I found is winners lose more than losers.
Yeah. Let's go, baby.
Let's get some caffeine. You want to box a little?
Yeah, let's go.
All right. Welcome back. We're in the Meraki HQ. That's my founder story. We'll start podding here a little bit more. We want to do little 30-minute pods. Getting people's just deeper insight on why they think they're successful, and hopefully it's relatable to you. I cut 7 pounds this week. I have 3 more pounds to cut and a staph infection before a jiu-jitsu tournament, so there will be a lot more energy here. And thank you, Michael, for taking the time to interview me.
Yes, sir.
My man.